prosperity. Choose growth. Choose Alliance Bank. Member FDIC.
You're a mean one, Mr. Grinch.
The timeless story you know and love is Broadway's #1 holiday hit, Dr. Seuss's How the Grinch Stole Christmas, the musical. Catch the Grinch in this heartwarming holiday classic, perfect for the entire family. 100 times better than any bedtime story. Cheers the New York Times. November 6th through 10th, Civic Center Music Hall. Tickets on sale now at OKCBroadway.com.
Oklahoma City, I'm Miles Perry, and I want you to tune into my show, Super Prep Live.
Super Prep Live takes an in-depth look at the Oklahoma high school student athlete and what makes he or she become great at what they do. Super Prep Live can be heard on OKC's CBS Sports Radio 105.3 and Instagram Live.
Make sure you tune in and learn about the next great student athlete on Super Prep Live with me, Miles Perry.
Injuries don't wait for business hours. Now you can be seen 24/7 for sports injuries. Whether you have a sprain or a broken bone, at the SSM Health Bone and Joint Injury Clinic at 13401 Northwestern.
Oklahoma City, I'm Miles Perry, and who wants to win $10,000? First of all, you gotta be a high school senior in the Oklahoma City Metro. Second of all, you gotta hit that QR code down at the bottom. Third of all, this is brought to you by Love's Travel Stops with Country Stores and Perry Publishing Broadcasting. And don't
Sports Radio 105.3 FM. Woo! Presented by Metro Technology Centers, Dick's Sporting Goods, Bedford Photography, Groundworks, Grinmore Sneaker Boutique, All About Now Photography, TTCU Federal Credit Union, Sam's Club, SSM Health, and St. Anthony's Oklahoma City Community College, Super Prep, Perry Publishing and Broadcasting. Welcome to our show on tonight. Glad you all are here. We have like 3,000 people in this boating district looking over the river, and we're having an exciting time. We have with us for our first.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you all for being here on today. And so let's start with my man Henrik, who is prepped and ready to go tonight. You are adorned with this medal. Please tell us a little bit about your medal.
I won it in the ACAC meet for middle school and OKCPS public schools, and I finished third place.
All right.
In the meet.
So tell me, what was that like? What was that experience to compete and finish in the top 3?
It was a really good experience. I met like a lot of good athletes and got to have the chance to compete against them.
Got you. Now, Catherine, you didn't bring your bling tonight, but tell us a little bit about your performance in the All City track meet.
Yeah, it was fun. I also got a medal, but I didn't bring it. But I got in 14th place overall, and I was really happy, and it was overall really fun, and I got to meet some really good people. Cool
beans. So Coach, tell us, how did you get involved in coaching cross country, and then just kind of how long you've been at Belle Isle, and I'll have some follow-up questions.
Okay. I got involved in cross country when the cross country coach from 3 years ago said, "Hey, I really need an assistant. I can't do boys and girls at the same time. We're on a really small field, and I've got to be in several different places." So I got to jump in and get my feet wet there. But I fell in love with the kids because they're so self-driven.
Sure.
They are playing a mental game against themselves about how good they can do. So I was so impressed with them. I was like, "Yeah, sign me up for next year," and then now it's just my sport.
Gotcha.
So yeah.
So tell me this. Describe for us novice what does practice look like, right?
Oh,
I mean, it sounds like punishment, but
it does sound like punishment. Sometimes when our character and our academics don't match our potential, we have a little bit.
Sure.
But practice starts with 15 minutes of warm up, gonna get the muscles ready, get the joints lubed up, get everybody to a state where we're not gonna have a lot of energy and cramping. And then we start with just a small jog. We run through, hey, are we doing competition pace today? Are we just doing endurance pace today? Are we racing a friend? Are we trying to keep up with a friend? Like, how's that gonna go? But it sounds like a punishment for people who don't like to run.
Yes.
I think somebody told me one time, the only time I'm running is something's chasing me, and I'm like, well, you know, running's not for everyone.
Absolutely.
But it's the kids pushing themselves, and you have to make it fun. Like, you have to understand that the kids are exhausted mentally at the end of the day, and it's hard for them to actually do a mental battle on top of everything else they have to do. So you have to make it fun.
Sure,
Yeah.
absolutely. So, Catherine, tell us how you got started in cross country.
Oh, well, I think last year I ran the 5K memorial run, and I've loved running ever since. And so, and my friends inspired me to join the cross country team. And so I joined the cross country team, and it's just been really fun.
Cool.
And I've met a lot of new people.
Gotcha. So, Henrik, tell me, how did you get started?
I play soccer, so that involves a lot of running, and I run 5Ks too, and I saw cross country as an opportunity to do that without having to wait for 5Ks to, like, for me to be able to run 5Ks.
Sure. So, describe what practice is like for you. Like, I heard Coach say you got to make it fun, but kind of you take me through your process. What do you have to do to get ready, and then what is that experience like? And then a little bit about competition, and I'll ask you the same question, Catherine.
Before practice, I just stretch, and then I talk to friends, and then we go on a jog, and then I have, like, competition with 2 other people on my team, James and Jaden, and that's what makes it fun, practice fun.
Gotcha. What about you, Catherine? What makes it fun for you?
Just being with my friends, and we normally just, like, jog and stuff together and keep our pace with each other. So, and talk while we're running to make it fun, yeah.
So Coach, obviously you are a school teacher. You were just asking them what did these waves remind them of. I think you got it right? So how do you talk, and what's the conversation about academics and athletics? Like, what is your approach, and how do you share it with them as it relates to that?
So our students generally have a potential for a lot of opportunities that are coming in high school and that type of thing. So they have to understand the why behind what they do, but they also have to understand that they are a student athlete, so student comes first. So student opens the door for the potential and the opportunity. The athlete is just the second hand of, hey, I can do this, so I'm going to do this to my fullest. So getting them motivated to keep up their grades, which is sometimes where the cross-country running comes in a negative way, unfortunately, because we have to run extra, because the team is a team.
Absolutely.
We win as a team, we suffer as a team. That's the way we grow together as a community. So getting them to understand that the academics is what is opening the door for them to move further on. And the athletic part is you're building yourself, you're building your potential to go on and conquer a lot of life with the skills and the traits that you're building as the athlete and the student together.
Sure. So Catherine, tell me, how do you balance it? Like, what does that look like? How do you separate time for athletics and time for sports? And I'm sure your parents help you with this priorities.
Yeah. So with school and education, I normally focus on that, like, when I'm in class and stuff. I don't usually think about running, like, when I'm in school, and I focus on my work. But when I'm running, I just, like, run, and I don't really think about school. I just run for me and stuff. Yeah.
Sure. What about you, Henrik? How do you balance this academic rigor and expectations with your cross country and soccer?
I just focus on education first, and I always put that before everything else. And like, cross country and any other sports are like a privilege to me. So
sure.
I have to work to be able to do that.
You guys are the best students. I've been doing this for a little while. You might. I think there's some answers that everyone likes to repeat, but Hendrick, you meant that. You like, it's all about education. That's really cool, and that's to speak of Belle Isle and the student athletes that they have. So, Coach, nutrition is a big thing,
Yes.
right? So, tell us your kind of approach to nutrition, and then student athletes. I'm going to ask you, what is it that you're eating before you're running, right? Because I don't think it's always healthy sometimes, but go right ahead.
It's definitely not always healthy.
Might be some candy involved.
There's probably lots of candy. Nutrition-wise, the first thing we focus on would be what?
Protein.
Protein and
Carbs.
Carbs.
And agua. Lots and lots of agua. So we start running in July. So it is blisteringly hot even at 8 a.m. So the kids are always, well, I have a side stitch. Oh, I have this. I'm like, well, you need electrolytes, guys. Let's learn what electrolytes do. Electrolytes do this. So they do this. They do this. They're very important. So if we have muscle cramping and we have any of those kinds of things, you're low on sodium, calcium, or potassium, right? Eat a banana. Get some carbs in your system before we go. Make sure you're eating lots of protein so you can build muscle. And then we just go from there, really.
Yeah.
Actually, their families are very supportive and all that.
Gotcha.
They're actually more scholarly on the subject than me.
So, what are you eating before you run across country meet? What is your meals consist of?
So normally, like at school when I have practice that day, and every day, I usually have a protein shake in my lunch, and then I usually have a lot of water. I have
So
like
much water.
2 or 3 bottles of water. And then I think after practice, I usually have like a lot of carbs, so I'm not like, and I drink a lot of water, so I'm not dehydrated and stuff like that.
All right, Henry?
I usually like some sort of like pasta before cross country meet, so then like my body like functions and I'm able to perform at my best.
Got you. So, Coach, every time we are here with some student athletes and teams, I always ask them, what is the mantra of your team? What is that one word or phrase that describes your team, right? Mm-hmm. Obviously, you've had tremendous success. And then I'll ask these student athletes, what do they think it is? But, Coach, you can start first.
It's community. We are building an athletic community together. And it's not just about ourselves. It's about our teammates. It's about our school. We're carrying our name wherever we go. But our kids are very good about pushing each other, rooting for each other, and it's not just that. If we're at a meet and there are kids that are suffering through, we're running with them. We are cheering them on. I'm running with them. Like, we are pushing kids because we want everyone to come back and continue to run. It's just you have to get through that mental block. So our kids are really, really good about encouraging other people, helping other people step up to their potential and see their potential. They're just fantastic.
Absolutely. Catherine, what would be the phrase or the word that you would describe your team?
I think probably friendship. I think friendship is a big thing because you have to be friends with people that you run with, or it just won't be a team.
Gotcha.
And I think that having a good team will make good runners.
Sure. Henry?
I'd say family, because we have to treat everybody like you do with your family, and that's how a team is built.
I'm going to run for Belle Isle. I want to be a part of the community. So, Coach, tell me a little bit. I need to run. Tell me a little bit about being the new ones to OKCPS. Tell me what that has been like, right? From the coaching side, competing in the various at sports. Tell me what that's been like for you.
I don't know if anybody else realizes this, but OKCPS has a lot of athletic potential, a ton. So I was just speaking to another coach, and there's a middle school that we ran against this year that last year was not even on the radar. This year they blew us out of the water. I was like, holy cow, okay, I see you now, okay. Now we have to kind of change our direction and figure that out. But OKCPS has opened up a lot of doors for Belle Isle Enterprise Middle School. So we have the high school coming. We're ready to continue that tradition of academic success and opportunity and family and community and friendship. Yay. So I think that OKCPS has given us some challenges that are going to be positive in the growth of our school.
Cool. So student athletes, Kenrick and Catherine, I always ask the student athletes, what is that one transferable skill, right? What is that one thing that you've learned in cross country that you apply to your everyday life, right? Like that one thing that really, hey, cross country really taught me this. Starting with you, Henrik, and then we'll come to you, Catherine.
That you could never like stop at 50% because you'll always have to finish what you've started in life and just never leave anything unfinished.
Sure. I perceive you're going to do well, Henrik. Catherine?
I think just like pushing yourself, but not too hard. But I think having a good mindset and just doing good is, yeah.
Sure. All right, yeah. I'm gonna ask you guys one more question because at 6:20, and when your other teammates see it's 6:20, I want you to just come walk around here on the other side of your teammates, those who run cross country at Belle Isle. So how is it like? How do your friends? How are you received in the school? Right, you're winning ACAC. You walking around with your medal, you know what I'm saying? Look what I did. How do your friends interact with you knowing your accomplishments? How does that make you feel?
It makes me feel good because I feel like I've got people that support me and my accomplishments.
Sure. Catherine?
I think they also support me, and I feel like they encourage me to do like good stuff. Mm-hmm.
I think you almost got a wave of strength when those ladies walked in.
Those are her runner besties.
Yeah.
Like this. Yeah.
So, Coach, what is that one thing that you know, as you coach and teach, right? Not just teach, but teach and coach on the cross country field. What is that one thing? What is your personal thing that you want to get across? What is that skill that you want to teach them?
Oh man, there's so many skills that you can choose from. I think it's just to honestly just be a good human being. Like treat other people how you want to be treated. Be humble in your accomplishments and share it with other people. Like for Hendrick, if something's working for him, he's telling the 6th grade boys, hey, this works for me, maybe you should try it. Catherine's doing kind of the same thing with stretches because she does ballet as well, so she's helping us do stretches and that kind of stuff. So it's just continuously like, hey, I have this talent, but my talent can help you with your talent, and your talent can help someone else. So, and they're also very open that when we make a mistake, we own up to our mistake, we do better the next time, we don't let it defeat us, and we just keep moving on, right?
Cool. So let me start on this end. We have roughly about 2 minutes left. I'll start with you, Henrik. Tell me, say to the camera, who out there that you would like to say thank you to, whether that's parents, coaches, because it takes quite a few people to help make this thing a success. So who is that? You want any girlfriend? I'm sorry, we said we weren't going to talk about that. Go ahead, Henrik.
I'd say my family because they're always there for me, and they are always supportive of me, and they will never leave me behind and forget about me.
Sure. That's really cool. What about you, Catherine?
Yeah, definitely my family and my coach, Miss Fury. Yeah, just my family and coaches. They really support me in whatever I do, and they always encourage me, and also my friends. Yeah.
Absolutely. So, Coach, you can finish with telling us who you would like to say thank you to, because it takes a village, I'm sure.
It does. It definitely does. Number one, my husband. So I hope he's watching this. Kudos to you. He supports me through a long season, lots of long nights, lots of all-day meets and weekend meets and all kinds of stuff. So he's my biggest support. I also have my family, my sons that are always, when I'm like, man, we could have done better. Mom, you did great. Mom, you did great. So my kids do fantastic, and they're really supportive.
Administration, OKCPS at the district.
Oh, gosh.
Just whomever else, right?
Whoever else. Okay. Well, that guy's sitting right there.
Oh, that guy.
Right. He's fantastic. He came on last year? It's been 4 years, but I got to meet you, and I got to know your presence last year. A lot has changed since you've come in, and that I've actually met you, and a lot of things have started moving, and it's absolutely fantastic for that. But it's always good to work with a district that sees a need and fills a need quickly. So if we ever need anything as far as administrative or teacher or on the higher level, coach level, whatever it is, we just have to send an email to somebody, and it's getting done the second that we ask for it. So it's great.
Well, we want to say thank you to Coach Peary, to Kenrick and Catherine for being on here, the Belle Isle ACAC champions for cross country. You've been listening to OKCPS Coaches Show on OKCPS Sports Radio 105.3, presented to you by Metro Technology Center. Dick's Sporting Goods, Bedford Photography, Groundworks, Grinmore Sneaker Boutiques, all about now photography, TTCU Federal Credit Union, Sam's Club, SSM Health, and St. Anthony's Oklahoma City Community College, Super Prep, and Perry Publishing and Broadcasting. We'll see you on the other side.
Good job.
Oklahoma City, I'm Miles Perry, and who wants to win $10,000? First of all, you got to be a high school senior in the Oklahoma City Metro. Second of all, you got to hit that QR code down at the bottom. Third of all, this is brought to you by Love's Travel Stops at Country Stores and Perry Publishing and Broadcasting. And don't forget Super Prep.
Injuries don't wait for business hours. Now you can be seen 24/7 for sports injuries. Whether you have a sprain or a broken bone, at the SSM Health Bone and Joint Injury Clinic at 13401 Northwestern.
Oklahoma City, I'm Miles Perry, and I want you to tune in to my show, Super Prep Live. Super Prep Live takes an in-depth look at the Oklahoma high school student-athlete and what makes he or she become great at what they do. Super Prep Live can be heard on OKC's CBS Sports Radio 105.3 and Instagram Live. Make sure you tune in and learn about the next great student-athlete on Super Prep Live with me, Miles Perry. Oklahoma City, I'm Miles Perry, and I want you to tune into my show, Super Prep Live. Super Prep Live takes an in-depth look at the Oklahoma high school student athlete and what makes he or she become great at what they do. Super Prep Live can be heard on OKC's CBS Sports Radio 105.3 and Instagram Live. Make sure you tune in and learn about the next great student athlete on Super Prep Live with me, Miles Perry.
And we're back here at the OKCPS Coaches Show on OKC Sports Radio 105.3. Presented by Metro Technology Centers, Dick's Sporting Goods, Bedford Photography, Groundworks, Gridmore Sneaker Boutique, All About Now Photography, TTCU Federal Credit Union, Sam's Club, SSM Health, and St. Anthony, Oklahoma City Community College, Super Prep, Perry Publishing and Broadcasting. Welcome to the show tonight, ladies and gentlemen. We have Southeast High School softball team, right? Student athletes, Brooklyn White and Rihanna Pondo and Coach Brian Franklin.
Yes.
Glad to have you guys on tonight. How's it going, Coach?
It's going great. I mean, we've had a great year, and this is icing on the cake tonight.
Absolutely. So I'll start with you before we get to these outstanding student athletes of yours. Tell us a little bit about all of these tournaments you've been winning over at Southeast.
Well, it's been a unique year for us.
Mm-hmm.
Last year, I think we won 2 games. This year, we went 23-6.
Come on, Coach.
And,
you're the coach of the year, right? Come on, Coach. Direct to get this right.
It's not me. I'm telling you, these young ladies worked there. They worked hard.
Yes.
They worked hard all season. But we ended up winning the Queens of the South tournament and our league championship. So that's big for us. It's huge.
So tell me a little bit about the Queens of the South tournament.
Okay, so that's a softball tournament that ironically originated at Southeast campus.
Uh-huh.
And last year, because of some complications, we couldn't host. So it went to U.S. Grant.
Sure.
And was hosted there. And we got just the right draw and got lucky with what we were doing. Set a good game plan, followed it through, and we had to come back from behind to win that game, and these young ladies didn't have give up in them.
Got you. So, Rihanna, I'm going to start with you before I go to Brooklyn. Tell me a little bit about I heard you say you were a senior, and so now what has this experience meant for you, because you went from worst to first, right? Tell me what that was like.
So when I first started playing, we had our troubles. We weren't always the best, but this season with all the ladies on the team, they worked so hard. We summer practice, early morning, hot, 90, 100 degrees weather. It was hot out there, but none of us gave up, and luckily, thanks to all them, they made my senior season a great one, and it ended on a really good note.
Absolutely. That's really cool. Brooklyn, you are a junior.
Yes.
You guys say years now, right? I'm old. I'm dating myself. So tell me, what was the experience like for you?
Well, this is my first year here, but like Ree said, it was like we had our ups and downs in the beginning of the season, but we did end up winning our Turnpike 44, which is considered our state tournament, and then we also won Queens of the South. We just had we had a lot of motivation, and I'm just really proud of these girls, because at the beginning we weren't that great.
Sure.
And we just did really great, and I'm proud of them for finishing what they started.
Got you. So Rihanna, and then Brooklyn, same question for you. How did you get started in softball, and then tell us what position you play?
So I first started liking softball when I was in middle school. My older sister, she also played for Southeast, so I got into it through her. And my first middle schools I went to, they didn't have a softball team, so I couldn't really play. But once I went to Southeast, they had one, and luckily I got to play. But I started in outfield, actually. Yep. And this is my first season actually playing in infield, which is where I wanted to be. And so I started from center and right I went to first this year, and I enjoy first a lot.
Cool. Brooklyn.
So I originally started playing when I was about 4 or 5 years old. My mom used to play whenever she was in high school and whenever she was younger. So she was the one who originally got me started in softball. It's my dream to go to OU and play softball, actually. But yeah, I've played since I was about 4. My main position has always been catcher, but I've lately started to be pitcher about last 3-4 years.
Gotcha. So, Coach, tell me, how did you get into coaching softball, and kind of what led you to be at Southeast?
Well, it's funny. I started off. I've been the head baseball coach for the last 2 years at Southeast, and the year before that, I was the assistant for baseball. We went through a change of coaching in the summer when we were in what we call summer pride. Mm-hmm. And the principal called me and said, hey, I need you to be the head coach for softball if you'll take it. And I said, yeah, I'll do it, no problem. And my assistant, who's been with me since I got started at Southeast, he was my assistant for softball, and his name is Sabino Torres, did a phenomenal job with me this year.
Good, gotcha. So what do you look for inspiration? So you started playing or coaching baseball. How does that translate, right? It seems like the same, but I'm sure there's a bunch of different nuances.
There's a bunch of different nuances, and you can. My wife and I are avid OU softball fans, and ironically, you can learn a lot by watching. But
Absolutely.
Not everything. I mean, the fundamentals of the game are the same. It doesn't matter whether you can't take a lead off of first like you can in baseball. Those are just nuances. But the fundamentals of playing the sport are the same, and I treat them both the same way.
Sure. I know this show is not about me, but I attempted to play baseball, but one thing I discovered, the ball is too hard and it goes too fast. I was not interested any longer about that. So how has, and we talked a little bit about you having a desire to go to OU, how has having OU success and even Oklahoma State success and now having a professional team that's coming to Oklahoma, how does that make you feel? How has that influenced you, right, in your love for this game? We'll start with you, Brooklyn.
So, like, some of my favorite players from OU are, like, part of the pro softball team now. So it's kind of just inspired me to work harder and push myself, like, every day to be better. One of my favorite mottos is always to be 1% better than you were yesterday. So it doesn't matter if you're hitting, you're working out, you're running, whatever, nutrition, doesn't matter. You always get 1% better every day.
Gotcha. What about you, Rihanna?
I like to watch softball a lot. So being able to watch it and see those ladies grow and succeed and become better just by practicing every day, that makes me want to be better in practice and just learn new things. Like Coach said, just by watching softball, you can learn a lot. So I like to watch them and see their fundamentals and see what I can fix to be better for the game and for my teammates.
Yeah, it's absolutely phenomenal, the influence that softball has begun to have in the state of Oklahoma over the last several years. It's really cool to watch, and another opportunities for young ladies to have a chance to go play a collegiate sport. So you alluded to your personal mantra, right? So I want Rihanna and Coach to tell me kind of what is that one thing that describes your team in your opinion? Like what is that? Like what is that one word, one phrase, and then Coach, I'll ask you the same as well.
So we have a phrase that you practice how you play. So you go hard at practice, you work as hard as you're going to play in the game, because if you practice slack, well, you're going to play like that. So I go into practice thinking it's also a game. You know, I got to play my hardest, work, do whatever I need to do to get that ball and get it where I need to go.
Sure. Coach?
I think it's funny. I had a stepdad who passed away some years back, and he used to use this phrase: "As you practice, or as you travel, as you think, so shall you travel." And without getting all weird with the language, we brought it down to how you practice is how you play.
Sure. And
I really wanted to instill in these ladies the ability to lose the give up. There's no give up in them now.
Sure.
Play hard. Every inning, we'll take the outcome as it is. But that's how we practice. Just like Rihanna said, when we get out there trying to treat it like a game during practice. Sure. And quite frankly, and they'll tell you, I probably push a little hard sometimes.
Sure.
They both shook their head yes to that.
So as I think about that, and you brought obviously these two young ladies with you tonight, tell me something about them. What makes them special, right?
Well, first of all, Ree is, 4 years, 4 different coaches, and stuck with it. And that, to me, says a lot about her character and her willingness and want to play this game. And I put her at first base. She hadn't played first base in competition, and here you go. You're a first baseman now. And she took to it and did absolutely wonderful this year.
Sure.
Brooklyn, her and I had to figure out how to communicate with each other because I'm a hard-charging coach, and she's a hard-charging player. And sometimes those get at odds, but in the end, we figured all that out, and we have a great relationship, and she is a phenomenal pitcher. She did wonderful for us this year.
Sure. So with that being said, as you guys had to work through some communications things, I'm actually reading a book entitled Super Communicators, right? The key of connecting, right? May be something to pick up, but shameless plug. But here's the deal, Brooklyn. What is that one skill that you've learned at as being a softball player at Southeast that you now apply to like everyday life? Like that lesson you learned out there is something that is continuing to teach me off of the field.
I definitely say communication, because without communication, like if you have an issue, nobody else can know that if you don't communicate that. Same with school. Like if you have a problem with understanding the material, you have to talk to you have to talk to your teachers and let them know that you're not understanding it. Same with family. Like if you're having an issue with them, it really applies to anything really.
Sure,
So
sure.
you just always have to have communication with the people that you're around.
Got you. Rihanna?
I would say teamwork. We have to work as a team in order to play good, and just in general, as you grow in life, you're going to have to work with people, and sometimes you have to work in teams. So you have to just learn not to be so independent, and also it's okay to depend on others around you. I think that's what I've learned a lot.
Sure. So, Coach, what is your conversation with your student athletes about being prepared to go to the next level? Like, what is your conversation about academics and all of those things as they prepare? Because now with eligibility, all of those things, students have to be in a position to receive scholarships. What is your conversation?
Well, we go at it almost in a different way for every player. But one thing we do is everybody meets on one day in my room, and they have to show me their grades. I do the same thing with baseball. I want to make sure that they're keeping their studies up, because just like we've heard already tonight, it's student athlete. So it's student first, athlete second. And if they're struggling in a course, I pull them aside and we talk about it. If they need help, if I can't help them, we find a way to get some help to get them back on track where they need to be academically.
Sure.
Prior to fixing anything that's wrong in softball. That kind of, to me, is the nuts and bolts of what being a secondary education coach is all about. I love the game. Don't get me wrong, and they'll tell you I have a thirst to win. But at the end of the day, they have to be good students.
Sure, sure. So, Rihanna and Brooklyn, how then do you balance that? Like, describe what those decisions are that you have to make to be the best student athlete you can be. And I'll start with you, Rihanna.
So I feel like you always have to put school first, because like you said, if you're not having good grades, you cannot play. So for me, I always make sure I try to turn my work in time. If I need help, I like to ask teachers, because I love playing softball, but I know I also need to love doing school.
Sure.
So in order for me to play softball, I keep in my mind that I have to have good grades, so that helps me motivate to do good in school.
Sure.
And just, they know this and probably won't say it, but on our team, if your grades slip, you can't even practice.
Sure.
You have to get your grades up. Much less being eligible or ineligible for a game, you don't get to practice if your grades aren't where they need to be.
Sure. Understandable. Brooklyn.
I would just say always focus on your grades first, on your classwork first, because as much as I do love softball, I always try to focus on my schoolwork while I'm in school, while I'm in my classes. And if I have to like make up a test or something, I always do that before I go to practice. It's also really about communication. You have to talk to your teachers about that, have to talk to your coaches and let them know that you're struggling. And our coaches do a wonderful job of helping us whenever we're struggling in classes. You have to have the motivation to do your schoolwork before your softball and before your sports and everything.
Sure. So a couple more questions. Tell me, Brooklyn, what is your most memorable moment from this season? And if it was that home run or that no hit you threw, tell me, what's your favorite moment?
I would say it was definitely at state. I actually have 2 moments.
Okay, share 'em.
So our last out of the game was a strikeout, and that was really exciting for me because this is my first year here, and I had to adapt to learn with all the new girls and everything, and with the new coaches. So that was definitely a change for me. And then my second one would have to be I was gonna go up to bat during state, and one of our other girls, Shaylee, she gave me a hug and she was already crying, and so it just made me want to cry. But it was super heartwarming because me and Shay don't talk that much, but it was really nice.
Oh, that's so sweet.
And she was just telling me that I could do it and I could go hit really well.
That's so cool. Rihanna?
I also have a few.
Okay.
I would say probably at state as well. Playing with Shay, we have been through so much together. So being able to play infield with her and winning, it really meant a lot. And then also our catcher Zeta, we've been through so much together. We've grown a really good bond, and seeing her grow over the years, and just seeing her get excited for. We had this one really good play. It was right before we had to go through the extra inning against Douglas. She tagged out the girl that could have lost us the game. So I appreciate her a lot on that play because I feel like if she didn't do that, it could have really, we could have lost, and it wouldn't have made my senior year as good as it is.
Absolutely. Coach, tell me, what's your memorable moments with these student athletes?
Well, I it's funny. I think for me, that moment in the early part of the season where we broke over from giving up in a game to, as we like to say it, having a little bit of that dog in you and fighting. When I saw that in these ladies, I knew we had something special. And we talked about it. I said, you guys, you're doing exactly what we've been talking about the whole beginning of this season. Now you're doing it. And we meet just outside the dugout at the inning switch, and I'll tell them, say, you know what your job is now? Go do it. Let's go do that job. And they responded. They responded and did wonderful.
Well, I love it, and obviously they lose the give up, right? I really like that. I'm going to take that with me now. And the fact that it really sounds like there were some transformative moments with your team, right? There was this crazy maturation, maturity, to hear the struggles that you guys have overcome. I'm just assuming that that's not just all on the field, but that encompasses just you guys' time. And I think that's really cool. And I think that's the thing that people really don't get about sports. It really changes young people's lives. So with that being said, we have about 3 more minutes. And so I want to go around the horn, and I want to end with you, Coach, tonight. And that is, who out there in YouTube land, radio land, that you want to say thank you to, that has contributed to your success?
I would definitely say my mom and my grandparents, and definitely my team. My grandparents have been to almost every single one of my games ever since I've played. Same with my mom. She's came to as many as she could. My mom has actually been my coach since I was little.
Oh.
So she's really pushed me to be better, not only as an athlete, but also as a student, as a person. Same with my grandparents. My grandma was actually my best friend. I also want to shout out my girls. Thank you for being good. And they just had a lot of motivation to win. They really came and wanted to win all of our tournaments that we had.
Sure. What about you, Rihanna?
For me, I would say my biggest motivation is my big sister, Jessica. No matter what, even in my days that I were down, she picked me up and always told me that it would be okay. And then also shout out to our principals, Mr. Farley, Mr. Shima, and Miss Kelly. At least one of them would be at every game, so that would be motivating as well, seeing them coming to support. And then, of course, my girls, we couldn't have did it without them. We're a team sport. There's no I in team, so.
Got you. Before I get to you, Coach, I got 2 minutes. I'm watching.
Okay.
What's the playlist in the locker room before the game? What are we listening to?
Oh, it's a lot of different everything.
Oh, no. Tell us some of it.
Brooklyn always brings the speakers.
Brooklyn, what you listening to? Soulja Boy, what is that? I don't know.
We threw a little bit of that in there sometimes.
Cardi B, B.
Cardi B. Oh my gosh, you parents listen to this.
Nicki Minaj.
We had to get pumped before every game.
Coach, you in there like, what is this?
Yeah, it's not. That's not music I know, and what I would play for motivation would not motivate them. I guarantee it.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I think there might have been a few times Coach came in like, "What are you guys listening to?"
Oh, that's a lot of fun. Those are great experiences. So, Coach, we'll close out with you. Tell us who out there you want to say thank you to as we get ready to sign off for tonight.
Well, first is my wife, who's here with me tonight. She has been probably the iron in my back to get up the next day and go back to it.
Sure.
She's provided for the girls, if it's cupcakes or if it's hot dogs. She's always ready to go, and I love her dearly for that. The principals, Mr. Shimabukura, Ms. Kelly, and our head principal, Mr. Farley. But there is, and my assistant, Sabino Torres. Without him, I am lost. I mean, he keeps me on track. He does a lot of the mundane stuff that it's not my forte, and he'll do that. And then the last one is our site athletic coordinator, Mr. Thompson, Coach Thompson. And he's been remarkable. I've worked with Eddie, and I've worked with I'm sorry, did they say something? Okay, I thought I was in trouble. I've worked with Eddie. Eddie and I had a pretty unique conversation right before the tournament for Turnpike 44 started, and I just told him he called with bad news, or what he perceived to be bad news, what I perceived to be bad news, and I told him, I said, hey, we got to win whoever we play if we're going to win this whole thing, and,
Sure.
and we did that. And so it's a lot of people who
Sure.
make this happen, and
Absolutely.
I thank every one of them.
Absolutely. Well, Coach, let me say thank you for what you do. Young ladies, we wish you all the great success that is to come your way. You've been listening to the OKCPS Coaches Show here on OKC Sports Radio 105.3 FM. Presented by Metro Technology Centers, Dick's Sporting Goods, Bedford Photographies, Groundworks, Gridmore Sneaker Boutiques, all about now photography, TTCU Federal Credit Union, Sam's Club, SSM Health, and St. Anthony's, Oklahoma City Community College, Super Prep, Perry Publishing and Broadcasting. Thank you. I don't know who's playing Monday night, but Dallas lost yesterday. I'll see you next Monday.
Oklahoma City, I'm Miles Perry, and who wants to win $10,000? First of all, you got to be a high school senior in the Oklahoma City Metro. Second of all, you got to hit that QR code down at the bottom. Third of all, this is brought to you by Love's Travel Stops at Country Stores and Perry Publishing Broadcasting. And don't forget Super Prep.
Injuries don't wait. For business hours, now you can be seen 24/7 for sports injuries. Whether you have a sprain or a broken bone, at the SSM Health Bone